I'm sorry, what was that?
Well, I mean, let's talk about GW Pharmaceuticals. I mean, you're phase 3 trials with the FDA. Obviously, this has something to like involved with the possibility of CBD being used as a pharmaceutical. How do you think that is interplaying with all of this? And they have an orphan drug status for one of the drugs, and that gives a 7-year jump on the other company. And they're a United Kingdom company. So, I mean, how do we talk in regards to big pharma coming into the industry? Working about it. And also with some other medicinal material, things like curcumin. How has that been, monitored in the past? Is everything curcumin
For a weekend.
Okay, so her question was, what kind of influence does GW Pharmaceutical kind of have in all this, and maybe possibly the pharmaceutical companies? How is this maybe perhaps causing us problems? Okay, well, obviously we know GW Pharmaceutical has the right to use this government patent on CBD. We know that FDA has sent out letters saying that we can no longer make claims such as dietary supplement, cosmetic, medical, except for those who already had their product out on the market with dietary supplement on it. For example, Charlotte's Web, because they're a perfect example of that exemption. GW Pharmaceutical, maybe 3 weeks ago, was on TV, very hush-hush, talking about how they have just had some major breakthroughs with CBD and seizures that traditional medical can't help, medicine can't help. So that made me shiver a little bit, because I could see where that's going. Yeah. Which one?
The Surgeon General takes the office Schedule 1. Does that change things?
I think that's David Bush. In a minute we'll get to that. But let me finish about GW Pharmaceuticals. So there was also a big meeting in Poland, I believe it was, a week or two ago, where a bunch of medical professionals came. And this was a huge topic of conversation. In fact, there was one researcher there who has documented proof that CBD converts to THC. And so I'm looking up for that information on that researcher, because if that research turns out to be valid and CBD can convert to THC in the system and people are going to test hot on their UA and lose their job, who then becomes liable? So this research is a bit concerning, because our Attorney General in Colorado right now already believes that CBD converts to THC. So pharmaceutical companies, in my opinion, this is where I'm at with it, they're looking for single compounds and isolating single compounds. We are not doing that in 90% or 99% of the cases of hemp. We are doing we're doing extraction with all naturally occurring cannabinoids, compounds, and derivatives. Well, that's isolating a single compound, and it also uses adulterated ingredients, perhaps that are through the chemistry process that are not already permitted. So when you isolate a compound, I feel like that's probably more medically, especially when claims are being made, that's a huge problem. But if we're staying on naturally occurring cannabinoids, because it's just like beta carotene is naturally occurring in carrots, so if we juice the carrots and we're getting beta carotene, this should be treated the same way for hemp. If we're juicing our hemp, extracting our hemp, we should be able to benefit from all parts of that plant. Right now, according to CDPHE, which I have on record, saying that the root, the stalk, the leaf, and the flower are all adulterated ingredients, and anything coming from them, such as CBD, except for in the contradiction you see in the letter from Flora's rejection and their lab division. Okay, you were asking me about the...
Yeah, I guess my pharmacist was kind of explaining to me that the Surgeon General could probably use CBD off the Schedule 1 list, which is, I guess, I don't know if that solves the problem, because how they can be classified as cannabis still, I think that's kind of...
Okay, well, let's clarify first what the Controlled Substance Act is. The Controlled Substance Act is obviously the federal act that regulates drugs. Marijuana is cannabis under the CSA. Cannabis is the word that's used. That means that marijuana and hemp are lumped in together under the CSA. The CSA for cannabis does one thing. It regulates THC. It doesn't care about anything else. It just cares about THC, especially for the exemption. There's exemptions in the CSA for seed and bird feed and cake, etc. But it also says not for human consumption. So even the exemptions in the CSA further define it as not for human consumption. And this, again, is for cannabis, for marijuana and hemp, only regulating the THC. So if you have a hemp product, or like if I grow hemp and test that non-detectable THC, the question is then, am I exempted completely because I'm not even under the CSA anymore because I have no THC, and if CSA is only regulating THC and I have none, then I completely should be exempt. Now CBD is not Schedule 1 or Schedule 2. It does have a schedule number, but it is not Schedule 1 or Schedule 2. The DEA did attempt to schedule it at one point. That's where the DEA and HIA lawsuit came in. HIA won. A lot of that was based on two things. One, the DEA trying to control and schedule CBD without the proper procedures. And two is that it's a naturally occurring cannabinoid in the hemp seed oil. So this has already been in court, these words, naturally occurring cannabinoid. I need everyone to tattoo that on their arm. That's how we need to start presenting our products. Like, I know CBD may be the dominant cannabinoid, and that may be the hype, but we need to start pushing the naturally occurring cannabinoids out of our extractions.
I think you just answered my question perfectly, because I was wondering if that's not on the regular list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, THCV does not even have a number. THCV is one of the other cannabinoids that can be found, sometimes dominant, especially, well, I wouldn't even say where, because I don't give it away. But THCV is not technically scheduled right now, but they have the ability to schedule it if they so choose to. It's kind of weird how it operates, but right now CBD is not scheduled. Go ahead, Gun.
Right now, the VA is right on the edge of prescribing cannabis for veterans with PTSD, and also is using it to treat veterans who have had traumatic brain injuries, mild traumatic brain injuries, and mild traumatic brain injuries that have developed into chronic traumatic encephalopathy. The NFL is doing a similar research. They're actually sharing research. A group of wrestlers has recently sued the World Wrestling Federation for head injuries that occurred in their sport. I happen to be one of those MTBI guys because I was with an artillery unit. Every time the gun went off, I got boom, shocked. So now I look at tremors, I look at lower levels of energy, and THC helps.
Okay, but this
CBD
is,
helps.
I know, but this is one of the biggest concerns we need to address at some point, if it's not today, but down the road, is our terminology. And terminology is going to become very important in our industry because people are using the word like edibles. That is specifically a marijuana term. We cannot tie that into hemp. And so terminology, when we start saying medical, medicinal, when people say that their hemp is medical or medicinal, those are the people you should stay far, far away from because they're going to get us all highly regulated. They're the ones who are causing controversy with the regulatory agencies because they're like, no, look, it's so and so and so, and said in the newspaper that they have medical hemp. They have medicinal hemp. For some reason, this just continues. Before this issue arose, I was creating a coalition or program, I don't even know what it's called, but it was called Colorado Clean CBD Coalition. And what this was going to be was an independent group that provided some kind of regulatory structure for us to all go through in the sense of processing, farming, really for the consumer safety end. And any product would get a stamp of approval from that Colorado Clean CBD project. If they went through the proper procedures, had their stuff tested, had batch IDs, had correct labeling, so it would basically be industry standards within our industry, almost self-regulating, until this issue came up. I don't know if anyone is interested in creating or even having this discussion down the road. I have like 20 pages I've already typed up and documented of how this whole concept would work. I had conversations with Joel Stanley. He said he would be on the board. I also had it with the CEO of this amazing extraction machine, which is non-solvent. It's all vapor, which is awesome because that also helps regulatory issues. And then of course testers like RM3 Lab, they were all going to be part of this initial board, so we could write like this whole plan down. That kind of got all put on hold because, you know, Chris got denied her license. So, you know, it is all about you right now, you know, and I don't really know the answer here. I don't know if we want to go ahead.
Any idea what's happening in Kentucky?
Say that again.
Any idea what's happening in Kentucky? What's related to this?
Oh, okay, so Kentucky's very interesting. Kentucky continues to go back and forth with their positions. 1 minute it's legal, the next minute it's not. Remember, Kentucky only has a 5-year program. It's a 5-year research and development pilot program. There is no commercial, it's totally opposite of ours, basically. Although if you go to talk to anyone in Kentucky, they're like, yeah, we just invested $250,000 in an extraction machine and we have the best CBD in the country. But they're not even supposed to be shipping it because it's under R&D. So I really don't know what to say about Kentucky besides they flip-flop all the time. I do know that they have had better communication with our Colorado Department of Ag because that was struggling for a long time. As far as I know, Texas, Kentucky, Oregon, and I don't think Tennessee there is somebody in those states that have manufacturing wholesale license already. Because they're bringing in Colorado CBD products from hemp and manufacturing, wholesaling them there in their commercial kitchens under their license. So I do know other states are allowing it too right now. But again, our state already has multiple parties with these licenses in place, and now they're denying all new ones, at least at this moment.
What are those states do?
I know Texas there's people I know in Texas with them, Kentucky, and I believe Oregon, there's at least 1 or 2 there. And then we have a plethora of them here. So the question was, who has manufacturing license, what state? Sure.
So is the issue that we won't be able to use any part of the hemp plant, or just that we need to get another license from the CDPHE?
Okay, so the question is, can we not use any plant material, or do we just have to get a special license from CDPHE? So before today, before this issue arose, if you wanted to produce a consumable product, you would go get registered with a commercial kitchen in your local county. If you wanted to wholesale and distribute your product, you would get the license with CDPHE. That license with CDPHE is no longer accessible for those who want to use any other plant matter from hemp unless hemp seed products that are non-viable. So no, my hemp tea, I've had hemp tea product for 4 years, it's now considered adulterated, and that just uses leaf. My hemp coffee is okay because it's using seed and coffee. Anything that is for human consumption is regulated under this division, requires this license if you want to wholesale manufacture it. And right now you cannot get that license and it's considered adulterated.
It's the same thing for dog food.
Yeah, dog food and I believe cosmetic stuff. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So marijuana edibles, we know they also contain the entire authorized cannabinoids, terpenes. How do they fall under this ruling since they too contain CBD?
So they don't. So the Department of Health in Colorado does not regulate marijuana. Maybe I think only in one city the local health department regulates, which is in Denver. Otherwise, the health departments do not let you have marijuana production in your commercial kitchen. They make it under a MIP license, which is under med. So MIP is a manufacturer of infused product license. That is the only way they can produce their infused products or foods or sell it is under that MIP through that licensing process with med. But the food, our CDPHE or our food program, it's not the same. It's not treated as corn and carrots like hemp should be or was. Marijuana is highly regulated. It's not treated the same at all.
So it's hemp that is the problem, not the ingredients in hemp.
Well, it's all encompassing. It's encompassing hemp, raw materials, and all of the ingredients within, essentially. So if I want to extract my hemp leaf or my hemp flower, and then sell that concentrate in my tinctures, I cannot do that anymore, because I just extracted material from an adulterated source. I made an adulterated ingredient and then put an adulterated ingredient in a non-approved product on the consumer market. Does that make sense?
No, but thank you.
So there's one regulating agency that says that it's okay to use CBD, meaning meth. And there's one regulating agency that says that CBD is not okay. True?
Yeah.
Well,
Words on this
Not
paper says
exactly.
it's okay if you're in a myth and you're selling it at a marijuana shop. You
Right.
can do it and it's not gonna kill you. Magical.
So there,
In this instance, cannabis, marijuana, whatever you call it, it's the same plant. They're using it in MIPS. They're creating infused products. Infused products, it's not food. She was really specific about that. They are not creating food. They are creating infused products.
terminology.
It falls outside of the definition of food, so therefore the health department doesn't regulate it.
Yes,
So
it's
cookies are not food if they come from a dispensary?
Exactly.
So I could make this cookie with concrete?
And sell it as a
And it's not
dispensary.
adulterated?
No, that would be through the health department. If you were selling cookies with concrete in it, that would still go under our regulatory authority for food. Now, if you put marijuana in it, that would go under the marijuana authority.
And you can sell it and eat it and it's fine and it's not
Yes.
gonna kill you. And
Go ahead.
so basically,
There can be no extraction from the hemp plant.
Okay, so the question was, can there be no extraction from the hemp plant? So, I'm not gonna be the one to say yes to that. I continue to extract, and I believe that we should continue to go on as business as normal with some understandings that there is regulation coming down. We need to be proactive. We need to understand exactly what is going on and be involved in the process so our voices can be heard, whether that's through Grow Hemp Colorado. We are not an association, we're an open source website ran by a farmer. With huge traffic and a lot of different political pool, but we're not an association. Or if you decide to work with an association or attorney or lobbyist, whatever, I'm just hoping we all have the same message so we can get the end result as we so desired, which is really to have hemp treated back as food. It's not very complicated, honestly. It should be pretty simple. Now let's talk about processors. Processors have no legal protection at all. So the only people who have legal protection under our state law currently are registered farmers and the registered areas. The Attorney General in our state and many other conversations that I've went on have a clear understanding that once hemp, even at 0.3, is concentrated, there's a window of concentration that exceeds 0.3. And this is then considered marijuana when it's above 0.3. So for example, if you are a mobile processor and you come to my farm and I say, I want you to run 500 pounds of material for me, but while you're running it, it hits 1%. You are now processing me marijuana, and you're also giving me back possession of the marijuana. Now, the weird thing is, if I processed it myself on site and then diluted it, I'm safer than the person who I just hired to come process for me. So technically, processors have no legal protection. They have no legal protection under our Amendment 64. They have no protection under 196, which is our Senate bill that passed 2 years ago. And they have no legal protection with multiple district attorneys who consider anything over 0.3 marijuana. Yes?
Do you think there's any protection afforded by being on your site?
Oh, well, so my advice to some processors have been the best thing to do is register with the CDA. So then all of a sudden you have a registered protected area. You are protected from prosecution on a civil and criminal level through 196. Really, it's the registration that's protecting us. I don't see any other way for a processor to be protected. Part of the Colorado Clean CBD initiative is going to be defining processing standards, such as how the processor safeguards themselves. So if I bring in 10 pounds of material, I need the processor to see my test that shows 0.3 or below, and then they need to be able to remove or dilute the THC. So the next question would be, if you remove the THC, where is the THC going? I said, bring it to me. They said no. And I was like, okay. So we talked about how to dispose of the THC that would eventually be separated. No one has that solution yet. You know, these are all things that we gotta figure out.
Veronica, for this program, would it be, that you're talking about, the coalition, would it be inclusive of products brought in from outside the U.S.?
Okay, so the question is, with the Colorado Clean CBD program, would it just be specific to products that brought imported?
Would it include?
Would it include just products imported, or it also include?
Also.
Would it also include products? Yes. I mean, I think anything going to the consumer through Colorado operations, we need to have a standard. Once we set the standard here in Colorado, the rest of the states will look at these standards. And if we can get our state departments to agree with these standards, that would be very helpful. I also think we need a test pledge. Canada has a test pledge for hemp press seed oil or the products that are imported in here. The test pledge is already there. We just need to copy and paste it and put our own language in it. And everybody who is making products out of hemp do a test pledge. Now this only incorporates hemp oil products right now, or hemp seed products right now imported. But this could include other stuff. We just are kind of like the Wild West with no direction in a sense, but we also don't want a bunch of regulation. Hold on, let me get to her. Go ahead.
How are some other countries handling this issue?
How are other countries handling this issue? Well, Canada does not allow their farmers to extract CBD unless it's under certain regulatory provisions, I believe. Even in their own law, it says that farmers are not allowed to use the stock to extract CBD. They don't ship leaf over here. You know, Canada are the king of hemp seed oil and hemp parts. Maybe not for much longer, but right now they are. So, Europe, well, that's where we get all the imported stuff from, is Europe. China,
So let's talk about Europe for a minute.
yeah.
So, I mean, how did they go about it? And of course, the United Kingdom has only allowed GW Pharmaceuticals, that's the only company that they do.
Yeah, I mean, basically in Canada and Europe, they definitely have requirements of who can grow and what can be grown. So you can only grow certified seed in Canada. Eventually that will be here in America too. That's why Colorado has the first seed certified program going, because once USDA takes over hemp, they may only allow certified seeds to be grown. And so like in Canada, if you want to grow hemp, you have to only acquire certified seed. You cannot sell that seed, and you have to, in most cases, from what I understand, have a sales contract in place already. So it's not like you just do anything with it. Europe, same thing with certified seed, except for everything I've seen come from Europe has a test and passes at 1% THC. I mean, I've never even seen anything from Europe come in here at 0.3. It's always been 1% under and pass. So they seem to even have a higher threshold somehow, but they don't. I believe they're more restrictive, but somehow it's crossing the borders with a 1% pass on